Let's talk more about this now with Congressman Tracy Mann. He's a Republican from Kansas, a member of the House Agriculture Committee, and also hails from a family of farmers. So he is uniquely suited to talk about this conversation here today. Congressman, talk to me right now about what farmers in Kansas, maybe even some of your family members, are telling you right now about the state of their finances. Is it difficult?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's tough times on the family farm. My dad is sitting on a combine right now trying to wrap up corn harvest this week. Some areas of our state have had great yields, which has been good. Some areas of our state have not. But at the end of the day, for farmers, input costs, so the cost to put in a crop, is up 40% over the last 5 years. So under President Biden's policies, input costs skyrocketed, which is why farmers are in a squeeze right now, which is why this bridge aid announcement is so important to help our farmers keep going for another year as more trade deals get done, as demand increases, as end prices rise, so that farmers can keep going and we can return to profitability.
So I see you mentioned that you think the Biden administration policies contributed to this, but do you think there's any part of the Trump administration policy as it relates to tariffs that have made it difficult for farmers in your state?
Well, without question, the Biden administration was asleep at the wheel for 4 years when it comes to ag trade. So when Trump ended his first term, there was an ag trade surplus of $6 billion. When Biden ended his term, there was a deficit of $40 billion. So we went years without no trade deal, no positive news for farmers as far as trade goes. President Trump's come in. He is righting the ship. It takes a while to, when you run a ship into an iceberg, you got to stop the ship, you got to bail the water, you got to repair the ship, you got to pick a different direction. That's exactly what we're seeing happening. These deals are getting done. The deals that have been announced so far, selling more soybeans to China, sorghum to China. We need to make sure that they make good on those deals. Selling beef to United Kingdom, bioethanol to United Kingdom as well. This is all good news for the American farmer. It's going to take time. That's why they need this bridge aid, and that's what was announced today. President Trump, first time I was in the White House, in the Oval Office, he told me how much he loves farmers, and today was a proof of that.
So do you feel, though, that the tariffs, I guess what your argument here is that long-term, the tariff trade policy will ultimately benefit the farmers, but in the short term right now, has it made it more difficult?
Well, completely in the long term, we need trade, not aid. We've got to get better, fair trade deals. There's basically the two crops that have been injured the most by trade talks this year are soybeans and sorghum. We are seeing China make an announcement that they're going to buy soybeans and sorghum. The president, his announcement today, has been very adamant requiring the Chinese to do that. Beyond that, though, we have got to be continuing to open up new markets. And that's where Biden failed for years in doing no new trade deals, opening up no new relationships. When there is a level, fair playing field, our American farmers can compete around the world. But we've got to get these trade deals done. Unfortunately, the Trump administration was handed the baton way behind, and now they're working to try to catch up.
Is $12 billion enough? I mean, for your dad that's sitting out on that combine right now, will that be enough to help him and then the hundreds of thousands of other farmers across the country that need help right now?
Yeah, it'll certainly help. There was some disaster assistance also announced a month or so ago that's more weather related. I'm not sure it's going to solve all the problems. It'll certainly help. We need to get that money out the door. Farmers are talking to their lenders right now as they're beginning to prepare for next year. And we'll know more. And if we need to do more, we can. But at the end of the day, President Trump, House Republicans, love farmers, care about them. This bridge aid announcement is an example of that. They're the backbone of the country. And it's a tough business. President Eisenhower, who is from Abilene, Kansas, my district, he used to say that farming looks very easy when your plow is a pencil and you're 1,000 miles from a cornfield. It's very, very hard business. It sounds easy, very hard to do, but really excited to see the announcement today.
So one of the things that Republicans criticized Joe Biden for was this idea that he tried to convince Americans that life was affordable when it actually wasn't. Now we're in a situation where President Trump is trying to do a similar thing, trying to convince Americans that the affordability situation isn't as bad as what their pocketbooks are telling them. Do you think the president is doing enough to try and convince Americans or help Americans on the issue of affordability?
He's doing everything possible. First and foremost, look at gas prices. Gas prices, when you have pro-energy policies, gas prices go down. You see that. Don't forget the big, beautiful bill that was passed, signed into law July 4th. Many of the provisions in that bill, the tax provisions that will really give this economy a lift that folks are going to feel in their pocketbook, those aspects don't come into effect until January 1. So we're yet to see the positive benefit of the big, beautiful bill. As that really sets in, as trade deals get done, I think the American people are going to start feeling a lift in the economy. And that's what we need here moving forward. Meanwhile, we're seeing a lot of investments. President Trump has many billion-dollar deals announced of investments that companies are making in our country. We got to work to get to a better place. It's taken time to do that with the mess left by Joe Biden, but we're well on our way to getting back on track.